minute will be a minute and a half will be yellow, and then 2 minutes will be red. And then for our speech for tonight, it's between 5 and 7 minutes. So 5 minutes will be green, 6 minutes will be yellow, and 7 minutes will be red. And that's all I have for my timers report.
All right, thank you. And then our table topics master for tonight will be Donovan.
Yes, thank you, Maurice, and fellow Toastmasters. My role tonight is Toastmaster. No, autocorrect. Table topic master. So basically, my role for the evening is I can do it 2 ways. One, I can ask the question and then ask for a volunteer. And the second way, I can ask for a volunteer and then ask the question. So this exercise actually helps with shaping yourself up, speaking off the cuff. So what that means is basically to have a little speech real quick based off of the topic that is given. That's basically what the table topics master role is all about. Back to you, Maurice.
All right, thank you, Donovan. And that covers our roles for tonight. And at this time, I would like to introduce our prepared speech for tonight and our prepared speaker. He has been a member of Hilltoppers for the past year or so. And the title of his speech is One Nation, and is out of the Presentation Mastery Path, Introduction to Vocal Variety and Body Language. And his object is to present a speech on any topic and use vocal variety or body language or gestures or both. So at this time, our prepared speaker for tonight will be Caleb Stratton.
Thank you, Maurice. So, for the topic tonight, my speech is One Nation. So, in society today, for those who have the misfortune of being addicted to Twitter, as I unfortunately am, you might look and you might see different news and different articles that show a nation divided. They show that political tensions as well as social tensions are at an all-time high. And not only are political tensions within this country, but political tensions within the world as a whole are becoming increasingly strained. And it can be sort of discouraging or painful as you're looking throughout society and saying, what's going on? Why are we as a nation and as a world so divided now? And is it something to do with the generations that we're raising up? Are the kids today not okay? Is there too much TikTok? Or is it really a reflection of each age, each generation that has come up to this point? Is this the natural progression and really the natural outcome for a society that is finding itself? I feel like a lot of people forget that the United States is a young nation that has gone through a great deal of growing pains in just 200 years now. And in spite of that, we still have a significant amount of growing to do. I say this as a young American man who is at a privileged point to be in academia, and I've been in academia for 10 years now. And I've seen from the higher ivory towers of academia how attitudes have shifted over the past 10 years or 20 years. I am that old. I look young, but I'm older than I look. And in spite of that, and in spite of all of the news that I see, I don't feel disappointed and I don't feel discouraged or scared. I feel hopeful because at the end of the day, each generation, each new person I talk to from each younger generation, they know more than the last generation. They've worked harder than the last generation. If anything, it's scary how much work and how much effort is expected out of each new person. There are scientists who are being trained who are under me, who know me out of the water. And I see even in other nations of, for example, my lab mate, who is a 34-year-old Indian man. He came to this country and within 2 years has already been working at just a breakneck pace. And it shows that it's not just here or in India or in China or Japan, it's everywhere. Everywhere is using technology and growing and expanding, and we're having such an acceleration of knowledge and understanding that when I keep that in mind, I think we're gonna be okay. At least I sincerely hope we're gonna be okay. And the reason I bring this up is there are going to be a number of people who will look to the news and will look at this very non-random, very selected bias of articles. Because that's what the news is. They want clicks, they want to understand, they want people to engage. And the thing that gets the most engagement is tragedy. Everyone wants to see the worst. They want to see, oh, well, at the Aldi's the other day, someone ran out with a shopping cart. Or, oh, the other day there was another school shooting. Because that's a tragedy and people can't look away from the tragedy. But that's not all there is. There's beautiful things that are happening. And I feel like we do a disservice to ourselves to be lost in this sort of misanthropy or this despair that as we get older, each new generation knows less, or each new generation it is just messing everything up, which is I feel like an easy pit to fall into. And there were times where, especially when I was in my mid-20s, where I was looking at what my little sister was doing, and I was like, oh my God, what are you doing now? Like, why do you think that this plan or this action, or why do you think this belief is the correct belief? And as I've gotten older, I've realized that to stay with the times, to stay successful, and to stay hopeful, you have to realize that life change is inevitable. And since change is inevitable, to really succeed and to really go with the flow, you have to be able to quickly think on your feet, to be flexible, and to know that at the end of the day, every belief that you have today is probably going to be wrong in 5 years or 10 years. If it's not already wrong now, there are things that I'm sure I believe in right now with all of my heart, that in 10 years, I'm going to look back at myself and think, oh, I was an idiot. But for a little bit of inspiration and to keep in mind with the topic for today, with the world appearing to fall into shambles, just remember that somewhere someone is doing something really cool, and that we are more connected and more unified as a nation and as a world than we've ever been throughout the past history of our planet. And we should do our best to keep it that way. Thank you.
That was an inspirational speech. Now, at this time, we'll move into our table topics portion of the meeting. And our table topics master for tonight is Donovan.
Yes, thank you, Maurice. Before we start, I just want to commend Caleb of the speech. I thought it was very inspiring, and it is true that there's a lot that's been going on, especially in the news that is crippling society. Other than that, let's do something even happier, like something inspirational. So first, I would like to call upon a volunteer who would like to go first.
Harry will go first.
Okay. Okay. Carrie, your question is, actually, I made this because I was thinking about you. Moving to a different country is scary. What is one thing that inspires you to come to a new country?
That's very proper question to me. Thank you, Donovan. New country. When I came to the United States first time, I was still 22 and young, stupid, Carrie Nova. I didn't know anything about the United States. So, of course, scary and also a lot of dream, a lot of hope. And if I go to a new country right now, it will be very different because I have more experience, more knowledge, more education. So it could be scary comes first. Because sometimes stupid is ignorant is it's something good, but ignorant because don't know anything about it. But now I know more, and it's probably scary. That feeling comes first. At the same time, I know how to control it. I know how to handle it because I have a lot more experience than before. So it's good thing and a bad thing. Good thing or bad thing on both sides. If I go to new country right now, this is very different from the many years ago when I came to the United States. What I had to think about how to make money, how to survive, how to live on, how to get the job. So those more reality probably coming than more reality coming first than the dream for things. What I want to do here, it doesn't all about it. Especially I just finished the text this morning, so all about the reality thinking. I've not really completely finished the text here, but so that's what I did. Get the job. I need to get the safe apartment first, and then I need to get the more useful, friendly people or something. That's a kind of reality. That's very different. But again, whatever happened, I have experience. I know how to handle it emotionally, physically. So it's really more advantageous than before. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie.
So you're no longer scary Carrie, right? Okay, go ahead, Doug.
All right. Thank you. That was very inspirational, as we can say. Who would like to go next?
Bethany volunteers to go next. Well, you can do it here if you want
Okay.
to. Okay,
Okay, I'm ready.
Your question / topic is, do you have a role model? Who is it?
I'll take a second to think about who I want to use as my example. Okay, I think I'm ready. You ready? Well, when I think of a role model, I think of just someone who emulates all the different aspects of who I want to be, what things I want to see for myself in the future, and also why. For me, my role model for I think a good number of people would be their parents. For me, my role model is my mom. She really had to overcome a lot of struggles and trials and tribulations to be able to give me the opportunity to go to medical school. She was the first in her family to go to college, to finish college, and to even be able to give her children the opportunity to go to college or even go to other institutions of higher education. For me, I'm very grateful that she gave me the opportunity to go to a good school, to eventually get to medical school, and to eventually become a doctor. That's a really big deal, especially in our country, is all the different barriers we have to being able to succeed and to enrich ourselves and to learn more things and to enrich our communities. So for me, my biggest role model is my mom, because she had to endure a lot of hard things to be able to put herself in a position to be able to give myself a better life that she didn't have.
Thank you, Bethany. I know that was no, I know that was personal. That was a good answer. Who would like to go next?
I'll go, oh, I see Olivia.
Okay,
I was actually clapping, but my hand wasn't raised. I was clapping, but Maurice, you can go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, no problem. I'll go next.
Okay. Your question, Maurice, is what is one quote you find inspirational? What is one quote you find inspirational?
I won't take too much time to try to think of one. Well, I'll give you this one just because it just popped in my head, not because it's a quote that is my favorite quote, but fellow Toastmasters and fellow Toastmasters, one quote that gives me inspiration would be from former President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And he said during one speech, "We have nothing to fear but fear itself." And fear is something that cripples a lot of people in different ways and for different reasons. And one thing that needs to be done to move forward sometimes is to remove that fear, whatever fear is keeping you from moving forward in whatever you're trying to do, whether you're trying to climb the highest mountain, whether you're trying to get a PhD or MD, whether you're trying to become proficient at being a Toastmaster. Fear is something that cripples a lot of people, and it can be easily overcome, but for a lot of people, it takes a lot to overcome that fear. So an inspirational quote again is, "There's nothing to fear but fear itself." Back to you, Topics Master.
Thank you, Maurice. I believe that was also, that quote was also a euphemism of a role that was happening during his role as the president. So who would like to go be the next speaker?
I'll take the next one, Donovan.
Okay, Olivia. Your question is, what are your hopes for this group?
What are my hopes for this group? Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. The question I have received is, what is my hopes for this group? I would love to see my hopes for this group as Hilltopper Toastmasters consist of or include. I would love to see us back with in-person meetings at least 2 times a month. I would love for us to all be giving speeches consistently, and not only that, but just letting the word out on the streets that Hilltopper Toastmasters is a place of unity, inspiration, growth, and where some of your dreams of leadership and public speaking can truly flourish and come to pass. I have been inspired by being a member of Toastmasters to not only challenge myself to be better in public speaking, but also in leadership roles or roles where I may be in public view. I take those matters seriously and I work to improve my vocabulary and to become a better public figure. My hope is that everyone else also has learned something that they can use to better their lives, and that they also are going telling others about the greatness of Hilltopper Toastmasters. That is it for that answer, and back to you, Table Topics Master Donovan.
Thank you, Olivia. But Caleb, David would like to answer the question.
Sure.
Okay, David, your question is, what gives you hope right now?
Say one more time.
What gives you hope right now?
Good evening, everyone. My question from Donovan is, what gives me hope right now? Right now, one thing that gives me hope is Caleb's speech this evening. First of all, we had a member give a speech, which takes courage and commitment, and thank you for that. But also the topic, which I'll talk about more as evaluator, the idea that we need to state of the nation, because everything we look at the news, there's all these conflicts, and there's one side hates the other side, all these different topics that people are so decisive about. But there's a deeper picture, and the deeper picture is we're all human beings, and we can all help each other, and it's okay to have differences. It's actually a good thing to have differences. It's a good thing to have debate. But we need to go about it in such a way that it's constructive. And I think Caleb made some great points in his speech this evening, which I'll, as I say, talk about more in a bit. But that's one thing that gives me hope. And just that we're still alive, and that the world is still going, it's still progressing. And despite the fact that there's all these conflicts, we can still get up in the morning, we still have food, clothing, and shelter. I think sometimes it's the little things in life that we so take for granted, that when we just take a minute, breathe, take a breath, and just realize how wonderful life is. And just seeing you all here this evening gives me hope. Thank you, and that's my answer.
Thank you, David. Maurice, do you have time to do one more question or no?
It's time to move on to general evaluation.
So that's the falls us around to apologize to Caleb. Sorry that you didn't get a chance to answer the question. So from that, I would like to go ahead and move on to the next, to the Toastmaster for the evening. Maurice,
All right, thanks, Donovan, for that table topic session. Now we're moving on to the next portion of the meeting, which is the general evaluation period. And our general evaluator for tonight will be David. It's going to be 2 to 3 minutes.
Good evening again, everyone. I am also your general evaluator for this evening. And before I call on the evaluation team to go over the different roles that we have to give their different sub-reports, I will call on our first speech evaluator, which is also me. So I'm going to give an evaluation of Caleb's speech this evening. So I'll start that now. As I said in my table topics, Caleb, I truly enjoyed your speech. I think it's a very timely topic. It's something I think about a great deal, the state of the world today. And talking, as you started talking about Twitter, I mean, Twitter is just the tip of the iceberg, but social media in general can be, it's such a wonderful way for people to come together, but it can also create such division because people hide behind that little keyboard and just, it's crazy. But I loved how you talked about being a divided nation, but we do have a message of hope, and that technology, as bad as it can be sometimes, can also be a good thing. And the idea that ultimately we're going to be okay, I think, is a powerful message. And it also reminds me of Maurice's table topic, talking about the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. And there's a lot of truth to that, in my view, because, and I've experienced a great deal of that myself. Fear has caused me to fail at a lot of things, just the simple fear of doing it, things that I'm capable of doing, but I'm afraid. So that's a powerful thing. As far as your speech itself, I thought you excelled at having passion for this topic, for this subject. It's something that I really picked up on, that it's something you really care about. Not you just pick it out of the hat and say, well, I'll talk about this. So that's something you excelled at, because I think giving speeches on things that we care about is important and possible. As far as things to work on, I would say you could work more on overall volume. You were clear that the volume was a little low. And also, and this is something I think everyone can use work on, is vocal variety. It's good to be sometimes quiet and sometimes loud. And just also just pacing different pace. And in addition to that, one thing I have to challenge yourself. You may want to move around the room more. Really powerful speakers, and sometimes they talk to the audience over here, and the next thing you know, they're over here. They're just, it creates sort of just more interest, I think. And just taking control of the room. Just you're the speaker. I'm the speaker. I'm the one here right now. Everyone's listening to me. And also, which is really difficult to do, I struggle with, but it's great if you can ask the audience some questions sometimes, especially in a topic like that. So that's just some things to challenge yourself on. But overall, I thought it was really a fantastic speech, very much on topic. You can email me your evaluation form, and I'll fill it out and send it back to you. But that's one thing also, I think, I observed your eye contact was good at times, but a lot of times you were sort of, I think maybe you were thinking, but you were looking down a lot. So that's something that we could always work on. And your gestures were overall pretty good. You were moving around some. I think you started a little slow, but then you got comfortable and got moving on. And it was a very interesting topic, and your overall comfort level was good. So that's my evaluation, which I know ran long because I tend to be long-winded. Thank you again for your speech. It was truly very good, very great to have here this evening. So moving on, back in the role of general evaluator, I will call on our evaluation team, which will get their reports. And I guess we could go ahead and start with our timer, which is Bethany this evening. So if you could come up and give the timer's report, please, Bethany.
Hi, everyone. My name is Bethany. I'm the timer for tonight. For my report, for Caleb's speech, it was 6 minutes and 42 seconds. For our table topics, where your time was 1 minute and 45 seconds. Eric, yours was 1 minute and 55 seconds. Mine was 1 minute and 25 seconds. David, your table topic was 1 minute and 35 seconds. And for Olivia, your table topic was 1 minute and 27 seconds. And as for the evaluation, David, yours was 4 minutes and 6 seconds. Thank you.
Thank you, Bethany, for the timer's report. And next, I will call on Maurice, who I believe is our off-counter and grammarian for this evening.
All right, fellow Toastmasters, for the all counters report. I don't remember hearing any uhs or ums, but Caleb, during your speech, I just heard the word so. You know, I guess that's a form of filler word. And then Donovan at the beginning of this tabletop, at the beginning of the table topic session, he also used the word so. Other than that, I don't remember hearing anything else. And then the word of the day, Donovan used the word euphemism, and me introducing it, you know, I don't count that as using the word. So Donovan's the only one who used the word euphemism for tonight. And that is my all-counter and grammarian's report.
I believe that concludes all of our sub-reports for our meeting this evening. As your general evaluator, I'll just give an overview of the meeting. I think it went well. I love that everyone participated. Donovan as our table topics master, Olivia participated in table topics. I think most all of us did. Caleb gave a wonderful speech. We all had roles this evening. And we're just, I think we're growing. This is a great thing to remember is this is practice. We can get up here and do our best. But if you mess up, hey, it's fine. It's practice. It's just a great way to learn new skills. If we're doing that, and that's the ultimate goal of our club. And I think we should just need to continue in that effort. So that's my overview for the meeting. I think one thing we did start a little late, which is typical. It'd be good to try to get a little more timeliness with everything, but I know people are busy and we try to get things going. But that's all I've got. So thank you. And I'm back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you. At this time, we will have an educational overview, and the person doing the educational overview for tonight would be Carrie.
Last week, I was the evaluator of Bethany's speech, and I wrote so many times you want to use move your hands effectively, and I didn't tell you the details. I like to share more knowledge to discuss the detail. And then your hands, basically, when you're in the public speak, your hands want to keep above your belt level. If you put that below the belt level, it's called a naughty position. It's not really pretty. It's not beautiful. It's kind of lazy. So if you want to keep your hands above your belt level all the time, and then plus, if you keep your hands on the palm or this side, that means you open your heart. So that's good. But if you kind of close down, that's kind of closing your heart. This is not just public speaking. If you one-on-one, and if you person showing your hands like this, this person probably open your mind, open your heart to you. But it's just kind of closing, and it's kind of feel like you don't want to open your heart. So it's good to show your palm or wrist while you're even speaking. And the second, and when you talk about something that emotional, it's good to move your hands above your heart level because that's an emotion. So that it was so sad to me, or that emotion. And if you want to talk about thinking logically, and so please think about your health. And that's something a little bit more around this year because about your brain. And then when you want to so excited and your hands really talk about your head, like, yes, we did it, that motion. So hands really tells you a lot. And one more thing, when you emphasize something or making a point, and this is triangle, the most effective. I like to do this, and that's a triangle. Sometimes you probably see that sometimes in a politician or a public speaker in a TV show or something. That's a really powerful, and you want to put all the message on your hands, on the triangle hands. And the second, I like to share that one more thing. This is pattern, the prompt, so table topic, and we don't have much time to think about it. So while you say, so whatever the tabletop master said, so give me a reason. And yes, there are two reasons. I have two models, whatever. While you're saying, well, I have two models, and you want to think about the first model in your mind. And then while you talk about the first model, you're thinking about the second model. That's a technique. So if I talk about, I don't know anything about it, they say, hey, Gary, so give me the two reasons. And yes, I have two reasons. I have three reasons. And you want to keep the less than three, no more than three. More than three is too much. So just keep it less than three. 1, 2, 3. And then I said, yes, I have three reasons. And while I said, yes, I have three reasons, I'm thinking about the first reason to say. And while I say first reason, I'm thinking about the second reason, the third reason. So that's the technique. I like to show tonight. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Carrie, for tonight's educational overview. And as the Toastmaster, I will conclude my role as Toastmaster, and I will take on my role as the president. At this time, do we have any volunteers for roles for next week? Or any speeches or any? All right, so, okay. Excuse me.
I can take general evaluator for next week.
All right, thank you, Olivia. All right. All right, for any other role, you just, if you want to take on a role, you could sign in to Easy Speak, and take on that role between now and next week. So at this time, I'll just reiterate some of the club business. This coming weekend is the district conference. It's $100 if you intend to be there in person, and $50 if you intend to tune in virtually. And I think one of the district leaders has sent us the link to sign up. If not, then just email me and I'll email it to you. If nothing else, it is 7:25 at this time. We started at 6:39, but we're ending on time. And if there's nothing else, then we will adjourn the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
All right, good job, all you all.